Hi everyone, I'm MaryAnn. I'm a visual artist and voice coach from Singapore, currently in Singapore, and welcome to day 27 of my 100-day vlog project. So this is a vlog series where I share what I've learned about pursuing your passion, following your heart, making your dreams come true, discovering what is a worthy and meaningful purpose for you in your life. Sometimes I share about the creative process and the artist journey as well. So if you have questions about any of these things, feel free to ask them in the comments below, or you can directly message me through any of my social media links, which are also in the write-ups attached to these videos. So yesterday I talked about how it's really important to carve out time that is just for yourself and just for getting to know yourself and learning to date yourself and spend that time getting to know what really matters to you and what you're connected with and what is meaningful to you. And it's only when you start to spend more time with yourself in that way versus, watching Netflix or playing computer games or surfing on social media. When you start to spend more time really intentionally just being with yourself, going for walks, reading at a cafe, and just taking that time to be with yourself, this it cultivates you start to cultivate a relationship with yourself, and you start to build a relationship with yourself, which would really help you a lot when it comes to figuring out what your path is and what really matters to you. Especially since we live in a world of a lot of noise and a lot of distraction, especially these days, from these influencers on social media as well as advertising, different TV shows, YouTube channels that show you different ways of living. I think all of these are great, but the problem with that is, we get distracted. We start, having this FOMO, like the fear of missing out, that we see someone living a certain way and we think that, oh, am I missing out because I'm not living that way? Instead of asking yourself, is this something that really matters to you? So of course there's nothing wrong with looking at these different ways of living, and honestly the best way to figure out whether that is the right lifestyle for you or the right path for you or the right decision for you to make is to kind of test things out. One of the things that I live by and one of the things that I learned 7 years ago is called epistemology. And epistemology basically means, going to the origins of things and figuring things out for yourself and experiencing it for yourself before you make a decision about something. So for example, if let's say let's say someone tells you that eggplant is the most horrible vegetable they've ever tasted, but you haven't had eggplant before. Are you gonna take their word for it and be like, oh, okay, my friend says eggplant is horrible, I'm never gonna try it? Or are you gonna try it for yourself to actually see whether it's something you like or something you dislike? So that's a very simple example. Coming back to the context of life and how, different ways of living, one of the common things that I've noticed, especially on social media these days by these influencers, is the travel lifestyle is something that has become very fashionable and very popular. And I think as a result of that, a lot of younger people nowadays see travel as a goal that they want to live, and backpacking as a certain lifestyle that they must experience, in order to not miss out on something. And I think it's great, to backpack, to test it out, to see if it's something that works for you and something that you enjoy. And after that, then you have to make a decision. Like, is this something you really enjoy or not? Or is this something that you're thinking that you enjoy because that's what, some influencer says that's how you're supposed to travel? Everybody's different. Everyone likes different things, and the only way for you to figure out what is right for you or not is to kind of just test things out and see what it's really like for yourself. So one thing that, I've never actually done backpacking. It has never appealed to me. Like the idea of, spending a few days in one place and then moving on to the next and then moving on to the next, that kind of appeals to me. But the idea of, having this gigantic backpack on my shoulders that I have to carry, and as I walk through the streets of some Southeast Asian city or something, just never really quite appealed to me. I think my ideal kind of travel would probably be to, have an RV or something and just, live in that RV for a few weeks and like drive around. I guess a place like America would be good for that because there's a lot of nature to explore, and an RV would be useful for that. Uh, so what I'm saying is that, there's, even in the realm of travel, there's different ways of doing it, and not, the way that is promoted, the way that has been shown to us that, hey, you should do this, may not be the best way for you. And it's ultimately about figuring out what that is. So coming back to the travel example, like one thing I learned after, doing the a few days here, a few days there kind of travel, is that I don't really like that. I actually like spending a month in one place. Because when I spend a month in one place, like when I did my artist residencies last year, I really get an experience of what it's like to live there versus, just passing through for a couple of days. And when I get the experience of what it's like to live there, I mean, of course, it's only a month, so it's not like, you get a lot out of a month, but you're not going to get as much as if you stay there for like 6 months, a year, 2 years. But a month, I feel, is sufficient for me to get to know a place, to see what life is like there, to have an experience of it. And then, because for me, I can't stay too long in one place, I like to see what else is out there. So I would go to another place and spend a month there and, do the same thing over again. And I like that. And the other thing I like too is that when I'm there for a month, I like that I'm working on an art project. So I don't, these days I'm not big on the idea of vacation anymore, because I think vacation is like, I go there and I do nothing and I get very restless as a result because I'm doing nothing. So for me, taking one day off to just like be by myself and, connect with myself, that is more than enough as a vacation. The next day I gotta get back to work somehow. Like I gotta be productive somehow and be working on something. For me, work is not just job work, it's also like personal development work. There's also my art work, which are my art projects, and of course, my job work, which of course if I'm on vacation, I don't really want to do the job work, and I'm trying to do less of the job work and do more of my art work and more personal development work. So what I'm saying is that, there are many different ways to live your life, and, all these different examples that we see around us on social media, they're not bad examples. It's just the only way to figure out what is right for you is you gotta test things out. You gotta try some things out, and you gotta evaluate whether it's really something you want versus what somebody says is the right way to live, and therefore you feel like you want it because that's what someone else says. And the only way is to test it out and to adjust things as you go along. And the more you try different things out, the more you get a clearer idea of what really matters to you versus what you think you should be doing. So if you like this video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube or like my Facebook page wherever you're seeing this on. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can directly message me through any of my social media links which are listed in the write-ups. And I will see you tomorrow.